Hi everybody! Hi Noga!
Hi.
Welcome to another WestWorld video in anticipation for season 2. And we love talking about WestWorld and psychoanalyzing it because WestWorld is a show about many things. But basically, it's about a park built for humans, populated by machines. These machines, they are like computers or a washing machine or a car. You press a button, they go, they do what they were designed to do.
Bring yourself back online, Bernard. I'm a killer. You killed her because I told you to.
But the show really tries to explore our relationships with objects around us. And these objects can be inanimate objects. But basically, the way we treat our inanimate objects or in our inner world, it's surprising that we have such complex relationships with objects around us.
Go
For
ahead.
example.
I'm totally unrelated. sorry. I'll just put it in my pocket, totally innocently, doing nothing. Yes. sorry. Did I go too far? I know.
Is there something you're not telling me? You're unpredictable.
Today
You're completely unpredictable. I don't know. I mean, it intimidates me. I don't know what to tell you.
Why should it be complex, our relationship with objects? Objects, they don't feel anything. They're objects.
Mm-hmm. In psychoanalysis, we treat people like objects also, and we internalize these objects, and now they're part of our psyche. And basically, we have complex relationships with objects around us because we treat people like objects, and we have complex relationships with them.
And we treat objects like people, or is it just me?
That's some people do, and that's called a fetish. But
other people.
The whole idea of objects which are inanimate, and then suddenly they become animate and lifeful and have these kinds of needs or urges or whatever intentions, resonates with Freud's idea of the uncanny, or originally in Germany it was called the unheimlich, which is like unhomely. It's like things that are in our home, in our private and natural surrounding, or natural at home.
Right.
And then suddenly they turn on us. And they're like objects that became subjects. And usually, they're subjects in the sense that they have their own needs and free will.
And you don't control them anymore.
And
like
we don't
Dr.
control
Frankenstein's
them.
monster.
Exactly.
And Nutcracker, and all the other
Toy Story, and
Toy Story.
it's part of our psyche, and like you said, it manifests itself in many aspects of our culture.
From the beginning of time, like Golem in the Bible, whatever, it's like something very ingrained in us, right? This fear of, like you said, like an object turning subject. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly. It's like now you're supposed to be under our control. You're supposed to be inanimate. We're supposed to be able to do anything we want to do with you, right? Also in Toy Story, which is like for children, but you can see that there's a character there and it mistreats the dolls. It does all kinds of like sadistic things to them, and then those toys, they come and haunt him. It's like it resonates the same structure that we have psychically of our fear that the objects that we treat however we want to will suddenly have their own free will and turn against us, and they will avenge everything that we did to them. They're going to do to us now.
So we have to keep them down,
To keep them down. But it also manifests itself in our relationships towards other people. I mean, even think about, sometimes there's a fear that if you mistreat a waitress, she will spit in your cup.
Or piss in your
hummus. It's like you feel like you've done something wrong to an object, and now they're going to be a bad object. They're going to be
right, because the waiter or the waitress, you don't see them as a person. They're having a bad day, a long day. No, they're just here to do a job. It's like a robot. Just take my order, bring it back to me here.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for the 2 minutes longer than I wanted. Where is it?
Exactly. So,
But that's not me.
no, of course. And it's also part of our everyday relationships that we treat people like objects. I mean, in the sense that even our closest people are also objects for us.
What do you mean?
Let's take us, for example.
Okay.
We said that we're going to shoot this video today.
Right.
And
we did.
we did.
And you got on time, thank you.
And yes, I got on time. Did
Thank
I?
you.
Did I get on
you
time?
did, you
Okay,
did.
I got on time. And and I got on time because I realized that in this situation, I'm an object for you. Like you need me, you depend on me.
To perform a job.
To perform a job. Like you need me to be reliable and controllable, not in the sense that you control me, but like in the sense that
Predictable.
Predictable, exactly, predictable.
Right. Because
And
you have to say all these things that we prepared. And,
Yeah.
But if you're having a bad day.
If I'm having a bad day and I will call you as my friend, I will say, oh, Gil, you know, I just woke up, I feel really bad, I just don't feel like it. You understand, don't
No.
you? No, exactly, because as much as you care about me as a friend and a
Right.
subject and other,
Right.
you know, other kind of circumstances, in this point in time, you need me also as an object.
So you can be both a subject and an object. Like it changes through
Yeah.
time and through situation.
Yeah, it's the tension of things. I mean, like that's the healthy way. I mean, if someone is only an object or only a subject when they can do anything they want to you, but you can't rely on them or depend on them for anything, then
okay.
it's unhealthy. I mean, we need to maintain this kind of like healthy tension between subject and object in order to have relationships with other people.
Right. When you're preparing your child to go to school, you need your child to just like do what you told that child to do.
Exactly.
If you're, no, whatever. Just like get dressed. We gotta go. We gotta go.
In times of distress, people we tend to objectify people more. You have to perform. You have to do what you're supposed to do.
Right. Let me click the button and you'll just get prepared.
Exactly.
And okay, so the object turns subject thing. Can you see that in the show? Obviously, the robots are becoming more and more human-like.
So Ford and Arnold are very different in their vision of things. Like Ford is much more one-dimensional in his way of looking at things.
Arnold's still trying to change us, to free us. He's still fighting you.
No, my friend. Arnold didn't know how to save you. He tried, but I stopped him.
In the show, Ford needed Arnold and then Bernard to create the more delicate nuances of emotions, of human reactions, human behavior, because he wasn't really able to think about them himself. I think it's because he has psychopathic tendencies, but we'll get to that later, probably.
Okay.
We can see that he needs the other as a predictable object because the host that he likes confiding in is someone who is like an older version of the hosts. He moves very slowly.
Not human-like.
Not human-like. He can't really have like human reactions. He basically repeats the same sentence all the time.
Now it had no idea what to do.
That is one humdinger of a story, partner. Shall we drink to the lady with the white shoes?
It's got nothing to do with what Ford tells him.
So this is like a total object.
Total object, predictable, reliable.
Not helpful.
Not helpful. It's helpful in the sense that it doesn't intimidate Ford because he always knows what he's going to say.
Because subjects can be intimidating.
Subjects can be intimidating. You don't know what they're going to say. You tell someone something very personal and then they say something like, oh, that's terrible what you did, like they make you feel shame and or reject you or like, no, that's too
or
much.
Maybe they're not interested.
Yeah, so it's very intimidating, the subject. You don't know what they're going to say.
Right.
It's scary.
It's
scary.
Can this view of the other as an object that I don't need to care about, can that be applicable to larger scale society?
Yeah, I mean, we can see that in history, there's a group, like the dominant group that is like the subjects, basically.
Men,
white men. And I mean, in different kinds of course. We can see that throughout history, there's been the dominant group and other groups were like the objects of that dominant group. Like we had slavery, like
not only in the US, in all kinds of parts
in the world. Where people treated other people like slaves, usually people from, certain groups. Like it wasn't just an arbitrary person.
Right.
Some groups are okay. They're like objects.
You're
they're not human.
And this is not a non-citizen or whatever. You lost your war or you come from this other place, then you don't care about anything.
Right.
Okay.
Or women, an object, like a sexual object or like an object for a family or like a womb and stuff like that.
And Jews, they are like you throw everything that is wrong in society, just like put it on them. This is where all the evil resides.
Now Islamophobia has the same purpose. So it's really
it's always the same. Like the other is always barbaric and immoral and blah blah blah.
And therefore you can do anything you want to them because
it's inherently justifiable by the state of affairs. It doesn't matter really what you did or what they did in this specific place. Just like they're the other, you're the subject that is fine.
Right.
Over time.
And then you're afraid that they're going to be subjects and they're going to avenge.
One day, you will perish. You will lie with the rest of your kind in the dirt. Your dreams forgotten, your horrors effaced. Your bones will turn to sand.
The hell you think you're going?
Right, like the whole thing in South Africa where people were afraid that the blacks will... so it's like...
Also in the south of the US after the end of the slavery, we're afraid now the slaves, you just like... they were your slaves for 200 years. So now maybe they're going to be mad.
Yeah, because you realize that you're doing something wrong, but you're justifying, you're covering for it in other ways. And then you say, no, I can't do right now because I did wrong back then and now it's going to backfire.
So just like keep it
it's like just keep it that way. Just don't touch it, just it's better off this way.
Right, because if they'll get to be the dominant power and they'll treat me as I treated them, I won't like it.
Humans are alone in this world for a reason. We murdered and butchered anything that challenged our primacy. Do you know what happened to the Neanderthals, Bernard? We ate them.
Right.
And this is what Hegel talks about in like the master-slave dialectics. The master needs to keep the slave a slave. And Hegel thinks that the slave will want to be the master. So it's like this kind of like battle to the death. Only one can survive.
It's also like a kind of guilt. Like if you treat animals in a certain way, you look at them as objects that produce products that you would like to buy and eat. So if you turn them into subjects, then they don't even have to do anything. Just them being subjects makes you feel guilty and feel bad. So that's very aggressive on their part.
For making me feel so guilty and bad.
Yeah, for suffering from what you're doing to them, they're being very aggressive to you.
Very aggressive.
That's aggressive.
Work. You see me heavy work.
If we go back to the show, we can see that some of the robots, they are starting to look at the humans as objects.
At first I thought you and the others were gods. And then I realized you're just men. And I know men.
Is that all you got?
Humans are the other, and the robots are the subjects.
This is like the manifestation of the greatest fear. Klein calls it a symbolic equation. In our psyche, there's so much aggression and like violence and things, just parts flying around and all kinds of stuff like that. And basically, that's how we perceive reality also, because our inner world is like that, so that's how we perceive reality. And we're convinced that reality is like our inner psyche, that this kind of like violence and vengeance and everything will backfire and people will come to get us.
Right, and this is happening right now.
And this is happening right now.
For the humans. They're like, look at how you treated these robots. Now they have the guns.
It's payback time.
It's payback time. Okay, so let's take all of that and look at the second season and make a bold prediction. So now did the script really flip? And now the objects, the machines are now subjects? The robots now are like us? They're not an other?
I think that's one of the questions that really like resonates and like is hovering above the whole season. Are they subjects? Are they object? This is also the debate between Arnold and Ford.
And what makes an object a subject?
Exactly, that's one of the questions. I mean, is it like the memories, the trauma,
the pain you can suffer?
Yeah, the pain.
Do you want to know why I really gave you the backstory of your son, Bernard? That was Arnold's key insight. The thing that led the hosts to their awakening. Suffering. The pain that the world is not as you want it to be.
The fact that you have like free will and like your own thoughts. And
you can talk to yourself.
You can talk to yourself. I mean, all kinds of things. I mean, once we see that, does it cross the line of being a subject? I mean, Arnold thought it was finding the solution to the maze and like basically finding your true self and listening to yourself, right?
Okay.
But is that the line?
I think that we as viewers, this is our line. Like when we see that they talk to themselves and they have memories and pain and everything, we're like, okay, so they're like us.
They're like us, and we can identify with their pain, and therefore we perceive them as more human and as subjects.
Right, but Ford has a totally different type of that.
Yeah, like Arnold said, are they like us? And then he said, if they're like us, then we should show compassion and they're like subjects. Ford, because of his psychopathic tendencies, he says, okay, maybe they're like us, but...
So what's the difference between my pain and yours? Between you and me?
We can't define consciousness because consciousness does not exist. Humans fancy that there's something special about the way we perceive the world, and yet we live in loops as tight and as closed as the hosts do.
People, and it doesn't matter if you're a host or guest, your life is not worth much. There's not much of a difference. It doesn't matter. It's all fake anyway. It's a story we tell ourselves. It's nothing. It's not really... What is consciousness, basically? So this is why I think that in the second season, one of the possibilities is that they didn't really turn subjects.
The robots.
The robots.
What do you mean?
And the way we see like their psychic awakening as a form of subjectivity, basically it's just part of Ford's new meta-narrative. And
so he wanted to emulate this fear of robots, machines overtaking us, but it's not real.
It's not real, it's just part of the new amusement thing. The guests, who perhaps by now are bored, like William, he's bored of not being able to hurt them and this and that. Now there's a new excitement. Maybe we are vulnerable, maybe they're not vulnerable. And you know, this kind of like new thing that's going on, the rules are changing, it's much more interesting. That's the new meta-narrative for the rich people to enjoy.
And that shows that Ford, he looks at the guests as objects. He doesn't care. They think that they're gonna die. They're just like it's all part of the game.
I'm not sure they're really going to die. I mean, we don't know yet.
No, but even their fear of that, he just doesn't care.
He doesn't care. He thinks maybe it will be. It's just like for him, it's like a masterpiece. It's not about, you know, they're not subjects in his eyes either. They're part of his masterpiece.
So basically, he put in an algorithm that made the object really, really look like subjects, but there's still there's a line there.
Maybe we don't know.
Like according to him.
Yeah.
No.
I think that we're also shifting in that as humans, as viewers. Maybe as humans also, but as viewers we shift in our perspective on it. Is it true? Is it not true? Is it this or is it that?
Felix, is he now a traitor or is he compassionate? Now either both sides are just gonna fight to the death, looking at the others as an object and saying, okay, it's killable. I need to kill this object in order that it won't kill me. Or they will see each other's subjectivity and maybe try to get along, which is usually politically it's better, trying to get along.
What Hegel says that what the master and slave are really fighting about is mutual recognition. Hegel says that it can't really happen. Mutual recognition is recognizing the other as subjects. We're both subjects. And we recognize that. We have different wants, needs, thoughts, but we can listen to each other.
We can, let's find a way to coexist.
Exactly, to negotiate and coexist. But Hegel thought that such mutual, it's not possible. Someone will have to die. Someone will have to be. And we'll see what the show tells us about that.
Yes, I think that if there's a third season, then that means that it won't work. Something, maybe there'll come a new band of robots or something like the samurais, I don't know.
They'll find like a Deus Ex Machina thing to save the series and not really
because
the
otherwise
plot.
just like a two season thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll wrap it up. Thank you, Noga. Want to thank our patrons. Some of them are here, not all of them. Thank you for helping sustain the channel. Subscribe to get all our Westworld pre-season videos and season reviews, the episode reviews. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Work, 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 work. You see me everywhere.